I don't think this one needs much of an introduction. It's the 49ers, it's the Jets, it's week one, it's Monday Night Football, and this is the Spirit Right Option Podcast starting now.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Spirit Right Option Podcast. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It is year five of the Sprint Ride Option Podcast. I am Andrew Pasquini, joined by Jason Aponte. I know it's been a few weeks since we last talked. I was in Italy. I had COVID. I'm taking all the blame. I am taking responsibility. That is what week one's all about, is responsibility. My fault, guys, but we are back. The Niners play football in about 5 hours from now. Jason, I don't think I can be any more excited. How excited are you for the San Francisco 49ers?
We made it. We literally made it. Like, it took forever. We didn't know. Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, this, that. Obviously the unfortunate situation with Ricky Pearsall, but we made it. And here we are. And we can just start talking about actual football, not hypotheticals, not how, people feel about this player and that player. Like, we get to analyze football again. And that's what this whole weekend, this joyous experience of not having to work on a Sunday is all about.
It's Monday night. It's a standalone game. It's the NFC champion 49ers. It's the last place New York Jets, but we know why. We don't even need to explain the Aaron Rodgers situation. I think you guys have heard it so many times at this point. But it's not even just the Rodgers aspect. It's and Jason, I know you're excited to get into it, the Hoomst revenge game. There's layers. There's layers to that this game. But I really want to start with what you kind of touched on really quick, kind of the things we didn't touch on just for a second, because it does relate to this game, because Brandon Ayuk is going to be, from what I read, limited. I don't know how limited is. Trent Williams is going to be a full go. Just how different the vibes are, I think, 2 weeks ago compared to what they are right now. And then you obviously had that little Ricky Pearsall blip kind of in between the Ayuk extension and the Trent Williams extension, where we felt like we were getting into, hey, vibes are finally getting there. And then Pearsall happens, but I feel like we're back. We are back. The Niners are going to be at mostly full strength tonight against the Jets team that mostly is going to be at full strength as well. I know we saw a lot of teams in the NFL this weekend struggle with offense, teams that didn't play their starters in the preseason. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some of that tonight. I think it's going to come down. We'll get into predictions later. It's going to come down to who's the better football team. I think that's really what tonight's going to come down to. But with everything that's happened, Jason, you touched on it a little bit already. How good is it for this 49er team to finally put the offseason and the preseason behind, a team that needed to put it behind? We're finally here. We're finally able to put it behind it. How important is that for the San Francisco 49ers?
It's huge. It's get back to basics. And, things that are outside of your control are now in your control. Mm-hmm. You can win football games now and go out there. And I think a little bit to your point is that week one is essentially another preseason week. Mm-hmm. And it's been happening all over football. Like, if you look, if I'm not mistaken, the highest graded passer in week one was Sam Darnold. Matthew Stafford threw a touchdown pass at the end of this Rams-Lions game, and he's ranked behind Deshaun Watson, who is an absolute dumpster fire and terrible.
Yes.
And I think, again, like, we're talking about right now, everything being week one. Obviously, preseason now is, what is it? It's 3 weeks, and it used to be 4, and week 3 was your dress rehearsal. Obviously, the emphasis is on player safety and, keeping guys good. But it really feels like right now, like, everybody's kind of getting into their mode right now. And I think, the Cincinnati Bengals lost to the New England Patriots on Sunday. Like, I think there's a lot that's going on right now that is hard to quantify, and it's hard to get a grasp on who people are in week one. If you want to make sweeping statements, go ahead. I hear you, but I wouldn't. So, yeah.
No. And like even too, you mentioned preseason's a little shorter, but they've also done away. You remember when it was cut down to 75 and then you cut down to 60, and like you would even get ideas as the preseason rolled on of what a roster is going to look like. And now it all happens at once, so you don't really know who's who until what, a week and a half before the season starts. And we got some comments here, just our friends we haven't seen in a while. Spy Nick Danger, go Jason, go Andrew, Roberto in here. Let's go Niners. Uh, Roberto mentioning that Jason is Ricky Pearsall's cousin because you look like him. I see it. It's the beard. I get it. CB Niner. Hey, CB Niner. He's a member for 30 months. You guys are great. Go Niners. Cry Eagles cry. They won on Friday. Not a lot of teams in the NFC concerning, but as Jason said, not a great time to really make sweeping statements of what teams look like in week one. You mentioned the quarterback's grades. Only one quarterback finished with more than 300 yards passing yesterday. That was Tua, and I wasn't that impressed with Tua myself. So like it's just I feel like a lot of teams are really using week one as that extended feeling out period, as you mentioned. You're absolutely correct. And it's something we didn't really touch on last year, but I remember a couple years ago, Jason, we touched on it, the slow starting 49ers. But as I said on the other side, it's going to be a slow start for the other side as well. Aaron Rodgers coming back from the torn Achilles, 5 plays last year was with the Jets. He now has to step in and take on a very good Niners defense. But on the flip side, Niners, Brock Purdy only played 1 or 2 games in the preseason, not a lot. Christian McCaffrey was out for the entire preseason. Trent Williams, all these guys, Brandon Ayuk out. Which side, Jason, do you think is going to start the rustiest? And I think you could argue, in my mind, it's probably the Jets because you have a 41 entering year 42-year-old quarterback coming off of that torn Achilles against a very good Niners defense that I think we've talked about it a lot in the past. Is that defenses tend to be ahead of offenses at this time of year. It takes timing, it takes reps, it takes a lot of things for an offense to get going. I expect a big game for the Niners defense against this Jets offense today, strictly because of the rust I expect Aaron Rodgers to feel, while also acknowledging how hypocritical I am by not saying the Jets defense is going to be good against the Niners offense that's rusty. I'm a Niners podcaster. I can do that. But Jason Aponte, who do you see being more rusty going into this week one matchup?
I think the answer is simple. I think it's Aaron Rodgers. He hasn't played football in a full calendar year. And, now we're talking about another preseason. And again, we didn't get to see much of the connection that was built. I mean, obviously, you can go off of training camp throws that are against air with Aaron Rodgers. And I think we all agree that Garrett Wilson is an incredible receiver. I think he's one of my favorite young receivers to watch. But at the same time, I've never seen Aaron Rodgers and Mike Williams throw the football. I've never seen any of those other guys like really get involved like in that way. And I think if we look at the 49ers strengths, the strengths are now the secondary. It's not the pass rush anymore, right?
Really weird, huh?
Right. Like and I fully expect Nick Bosa to have an incredible season. And I think it starts tonight with, at least if there's a sack prop, whatever it is, if it's 1.5, I'm taking the over. I think Nick Bosa is gonna find a way to obviously right his wrongs. I feel like because he's talked about it all off seasons about how he was out of shape and all that stuff. Like I think both offenses come out a bit sluggish, just a little bit. But if I was guessing who was more rusty, it would be the guy who hasn't played football in how long. And by the way, I want to make sure I reiterate myself when I say this. If there was somebody to not bet against to like come back and be, good at football, it's Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. Right. Like, and that's the part that I struggle with just a little bit. But for me, it's you're 41, new offense. It's still the New York Jets. And somehow things always go wrong. And if you ask any Jets fan, like I can walk out my window, I can walk out this window right now and talk to anybody who's a Jets fan. They're not excited about this game. They're excited about the prospects of their team and being on paper, but they always kind of know, this is never going to end well. You have to factor in that somehow, even though that has nothing to do with actual football. So for me, it's just, I know what I can trust with the San Francisco 49ers, and they have too much on offense, on defense, to let Russ be in the way of them in this game, because even if Christian McCaffrey's rusty or isn't exactly running the football well, throw him the football against linebackers. Let's have Jordan Mason in the backfield. The Miami Dolphins did something yesterday that was super insane in today's modern game. Is they played Achane and Mostert in the same backfield. It's completely possible that we see Christian McCaffrey lined up in the slot against linebackers with Jordan Mason in the backfield, and just giving those looks. And I think that's a way that you can maximize Christian McCaffrey's potential while preserving him based on, whatever it is with his calf or Achilles.
I feel like it would be so exciting. Like, I feel like, oh man, and I can't step into this because I'm not a Jets fan, but I feel like going into tonight's game, like the Jets fan base has the potential to be the first like NFL team to be able to let out like a sigh of relief 5 plays into a season. Because if Rodgers like gets through 5 plays, which I have no reason to believe he won't, he's absolutely getting through 5. Like if it happens again, she's like, oh my god, like we could start really talking about Jets and curses and all that. But like, you know how nice it must be to get that. Like, Niner fans are going to be a little anxious all night. Niner fans are anxious every day of their life, so I guess that doesn't change anything. But to be able to get that first like checkpoint out of the way of like, oh, Aaron Rodgers survived an entire drive. Like, okay, we play football. I feel like that's almost like good for Jets fans. I don't know why I think that's a good thing. I don't think a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles injury is ever a good thing. But yeah, I'm at the same place as you. I like to believe that both teams are going to start rusty. I just have a hard time believing that this Niners offense won't find it quicker than this Jets offense. But at the same time, something you touched on really quick, I also wouldn't be surprised if we talk about after this game tonight, Sprint Right Option Podcast post game right here, Jason Ponte's YouTube channel. Got to get that plug in. That we're talking about like, oh yeah, Aaron Rodgers just looked like Aaron Rodgers of old, and he threw for 3 touchdowns, and the Niners lost 21-17. Like I could absolutely see something like that happening too, because it's just Aaron Rodgers, and that's who he is.
I have a tougher time with that, and just the Jets are the Jets. I hate this. I hate to sound like that, right? Like, and I hate to just reduce it to the New York Jets, have been terrible for the large part of my life, for the longest part of for the almost 40 years that I've been on this earth. They've been terrible, right? Like, they've got a few years of, but today's the day that I'm supposed to be scared now.
Yeah.
Now's the day that now the New York Jets are transitioning from what they normally are, which is an awful, terrible run organization with, a shitty owner. Now, all of a sudden, I need to be scared. Now I need to be scared of the New York Jets because they have good players finally on their team. They've had good players before.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just have a tough time believing that I need to be scared now. Now, we did our Niners Nation production, our predictions. And, if you guys didn't know, Andrew and I write for Niners Nation. I have this one 21-14. And I have a 21-14 based on rust. And, the Jets defense is actually stout, like in certain aspects. But who am I going to trust? Am I going to trust a team that has continued every single year? The Jets owner is better than the Niners? Holy shit, man. I don't even want to get into this discussion. Yeah. I do not want to get into a discussion with. Never mind. I'm gonna. I
don't even want to.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it.
Having to defend Jed York is a lot.
No, and that's fine. But oh my God, Woody Johnson is by far one of the most awful people that's ever walked this earth. Like, oh my God, like, all right. Regardless of all that,
side point.
I know the San Francisco 49ers are better than the New York Jets, and the New York Jets are improved. And I will not sit here and allow myself to get lulled into this false sense of, oh my God, they've been rusty in this offseason. No, this is a week 1 game. In week 1, and Kyle Shanahan hasn't exactly been the best when it comes to week 1. But they're better. So I'm going to pick the better football team to win this game, regardless of whether I root for them or not. They are better on both aspects of the ball in almost every single way, coaching everything. So now why would I back down? Because all of a sudden now, oh my God, the Jets have Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. Okay. The 49ers have beaten better teams in bigger moments.
Yes, and this is a big game. Obviously it's a big game for both teams. It's week 1, but it means much more to the Jets than the Niners, because we've seen the Niners start out slow, and that's why I wanna reel it in a little bit, because no surprise, I have the Niners winning too. It's a Niners podcast, for God's sake. Well, what were you, Jason? 12-5 picking Niner games last year, or whatever it was.
Not bad.
The Niners every time. So it is what it is. It's just. It feels so much more important for this Jets team, because again, this is the first Jets team that has been good. I guess the second Jets team that has had expectations going into a season, because the Jets team last year exists. We can't pretend like they didn't have expectations going into it. But I just think it would mean so much more to Jets fans seeing them get out to a hot start again, especially against a team like the 49ers. Because to me, Jason, and this is me sitting at the top of my pearly white gatehouse, being one of the best franchises in the NFL for the last 10 years, or not 10 years, 5 years. I think Jets gang is trolling a little bit right now.
Yeah. All right. Look. I'm having fun today. Let's engage. How are the 49ers better? Okay. Christian McCaffrey is better than Breece Hall. The 49ers offensive line is better than the Jets offensive line. The 49ers defensive line is better than the Jets defensive line. The 49ers linebacker crew, when healthy, is better. The secondary for the 49ers is just as good. You know what? I'll even give the Jets I'll give the Jets the nod there. Wide receivers, the 49ers are better. I don't understand any Jets fan that's out here talking crazy, and you should just kind of just be in your house hoping your team wins. I don't get the chest puffing. The New York Jets haven't been to the playoffs in 15 years. How is the 49ers D-line better? Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw, and almost all of your guys that you're starting are former 49ers. I literally don't understand. Point. Yo, Jesus Christ, they couldn't even make our team. They can't make our team. Are you dumb?
That's a good one. Quinnen versus Hargrave. Who's the better DT?
Hargrave. No. Quinnen.
Let's be that. I think we can give him that. It's just listen. I understand it. Again, this is week 1. Jets gang. We love that you're in the comments defending your Jets. We love talking to.
But he won't be here. He won't be here when the 49ers win against the Jets, because he's pulling up for this week. But he won't be here after the game's over. He won't be here, and
this is how Jets game becomes a legend of SRO. If he comes back when the Niners win tonight,
he won't.
Challenge has been thrown to Jets gang. He's throwing it out to Jets gang.
We got a job to do. We gotta show up, win, lose, or draw. You're not gonna show up when you lose. You're not gonna show up tonight when you lose. That's gonna be the funniest part. That's gonna be the funniest part. And if you do show up, send a $5 super chat. Put it better.
We love you. We'll love you. Jason, let's go from one Achilles to the other that we didn't really know about, but kind of knew about. The Christian McCaffrey news. I just want to touch about real quick, because it is news in a sense. I don't know how I feel about it, because I think as a sports fan, we have been trained with the word Achilles, for good reason to be very worried about it. But everybody seems to be saying that, no, this is nothing to worry about with McCaffrey. He's good to go. And kind of to the point I was making earlier, we've seen what week 1 games mean for the 49ers, because the Niners haven't won consecutive week 1s under Kyle Shanahan yet. The last time they've won consecutive week 1 games was Chip Kelly and Jim Tomsula 15-16. They've lost the Bears game. The last time the Niners hosted a home week 1 game was 2020. They lost to the Cardinals. So this is a team that started off slow. I think there's any team that could recognize that slow starts exist, it would be the Niners. And I like to believe that if this was something serious to where if he plays tonight, he can get hurt, the Niners shouldn't play him. But the Niners playing him week one, where they've had these slow starts in the past, tells me it's not something to be concerned about. So, Jason, are you trusting the reports of, hey, nothing to worry about? Or are you trusting your gut of like, hey, this is an Achilles injury? There's at least a little something to be worried about.
No, and calf attached to the Achilles, and if you guys didn't check it out, like I did a show with Dr. Narab Panja, who talked about like what's going on, and also, by the way, we might as well announce it now. The doc is going to be doing a weekly spot with us on the Sprint Right Option, talking about injuries for a little while, at least a little bit. So look out for that. But he said, in terms of like rest and all that stuff, like calf, Achilles, you always like off the rip start to think Kevin Durant, and you start to think. Yeah. The worst case scenario. So, yeah, it's possible. But again, the San Francisco 49ers are going to find a way to mitigate that risk by, again, this is what I'm talking about. Get Christian McCaffrey in the slot. Let's put him on some of these linebackers. Let's see if they can cover in space. They can't. That's the thing that you need to do. And I think if there are, and we'll talk about like betting and stuff like that, Jordan Mason props in terms of how many yards Jordan Mason gets or probably anytime touchdown, probably up there. So I would probably look at that. I don't have many concerns. I mean, the guy has been completely unused the entire preseason. And I think, again, limiting his snaps wouldn't be the worst idea. And I think that's what Jordan Mason is for. And Isaac Guerrero is ready to go in this game. So now Isaac Guerrero can kick return. And now you can use Jordan Mason as the RB2. I'm not as worried in terms of that at all.
Yeah. Okay. So, and that's where I'm at. I firmly believe that if he's playing, he's good to go. I refuse to believe that somebody that important to this 49ers offense is.
The Jets linebackers aren't scrubs. They can't cover in. Oh my God, bro. Oh my God.
Jets gang, we out here defending his team. We love it. No, yeah. Listen. It's nothing against the Jets linebackers.
It's linebackers against Christian McCaffrey. It doesn't matter who they are. Oh my God.
That is all it is. It's Christian McCaffrey's very good.
Are you doing this on purpose, like to just get people mad? Like, are you legitimately trying to tell everybody that you don't understand football?
Hey man, never know. But I believe that if Christian McCaffrey's playing, he is healthy. No concern of re-aggravating anything. The timing of the Achilles being added, maybe not the best, but I also know that the NFL is being way tighter on these injury report, designations, that they need to be more specific. That's what it might be. I'm not concerned. But Jason, let's pivot from the Niners offense now to the defense. Jets game, doubt Debo gets open. I mean, I've watched the Niners too.
I literally took Debo Samuel over 69.5 receiving and rushing yards. That's it. It's the easiest money. It's the easiest money that could be out there. What are you talking about?
Debo doesn't need to get open because everything's within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. But I want to talk about that Niners defense because you mentioned it. This is a total line change in thought for the 49ers. It used to be this pass rush is super deep. And it's not that it's not super deep. It's just this is the best. Pound for pound, this is not even close. The best starting four the 49ers pass rush has had. Oh, man, maybe since at least DeForest Buckner on this team where you're going, you're going across with Malik and Hargrave in the middle, and then you have Floyd and Bosa. But this secondary is easily the deepest of the Shanahan era. And it's to a point where I'm very curious of what the secondary looks like in week 18. Not because of injuries, like that's not what I'm talking about. It's just there feels like there's so much talent in this secondary group, and there is so much versatility where Diamador Lenore can play inside or outside, and you got Renardo Green, who's this unknown, and then you have Rock Ya-Sin, and you have Yiadom. You have guys in the secondary where it's like you can kind of do a little bit of anything with everybody. And I know Talanoa Hufanga is doubtful tonight. He's probably not playing, but even then, the safety group you feel confident with. This isn't even necessarily a question for tonight, Jason Aponte. It's a little bit, but what does this Niners defense look like in 2024? Because it's so different than what we're used to.
The 49ers are going to have something that is foreign to them during Kyle Shanahan's time. 2019, I feel like is the most talented defensive line they'll ever be able to run out there.
Yes.
Um, I'm not gonna look at the comments anymore. I'm done. Um, but this 49ers defensive line, you're gonna hear things that have been said that you normally won't hear, called cover sacks.
Yeah.
Mooney Ward, Lenore, Yadam. Obviously George Odom is going to be somebody who's going to step in for Hufanga. I think it's low-hanging fruit to say that Jair Brown is going to have a breakout season.
Yes.
And I feel like that's the easiest, mark to run with. And when you couple that with the fact that Nick Sorensen, former defensive back, Brandon Staley, two high safety guru, a Fangio disciple, shout out to Rich Madrid, watching the film. This feels like with the draft class and the way that they've done what they've done in the offseason is that they've realized, hey, man, we don't get the calls in the Super Bowl for holding with our defensive pass rush. Maybe we should just invest in secondary. And when you look at this Jets team, Garrett Wilson is incredible, and he's going to be moved around a bunch. Obviously, Mooney Ward is not going to shadow him everywhere, but that's fine. Diamador Lenore will step inside, and I feel good about that. Mike Williams has barely played football. Yeah, Mike Williams playing tonight. It will be the first game in how he's going to get hurt after 10 snaps. And I hope you know, Jets gang, and he's going to be on a snap count. Okay? It's not like – and – now I need to be worried about Mike Williams. My God, what are we talking about, dog?
Mike Williams first.
Now
game
Mike Williams is moving the needle, and now I need to be nervous. Oh my God, Mike Williams is playing. How will we ever deal with it? Get out of here.
First game since September 24 last.
Oh my God! Now I need to be worried about Mike Williams. I need to lose sleep over the fact that Mike Williams is going to be on the field for 22 snaps. Oh my God! I'm so scared. Are you kidding me?
Mike Williams. Man, 7 receptions, 121 yards last time he was on a football field against the Minnesota.
Mike Williams.
Unfortunately, Mike Williams didn't have to play the Niners defense last year.
No, but and look,
a little difference.
You know what's crazy? Mike Williams is good.
Yeah,
but
he's good.
Plays. What you want me to? What you? So all right. So Jets gang, I have this question for you. You want me to be worried about Mike Williams, but you don't want to be worried about Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George. Let's not just worried about them, but I need to lose sleep over. Listen to what you're saying. You and your other boy that's in the chat or whatever, Chris Hernandez, Debo's one of the worst guys in the league when it's a good player that can play man. Okay, man. Are you guys running a race to figure out who's the worst at understanding football and not knowing ball? Because if you are at least in the running for a gold medal at this point. You're getting real close.
Mike Williams is good. It's just availability is the best ability. Hasn't played 16 games in a season his entire career. It's 2021. If he could stay on the field, absolutely, sure. But again, it's his first. This isn't the right place to talk Mike Williams because if you want to talk about his success, let's talk week 5, 6, 7 if he's healthy. But probably a pitch count tonight. He might have 2-3 receptions. That's fine. But in terms of who he is, he's a fine player. It's just week 1, we're talking about rust. I feel like Jets gang, you got to give us credit too, because we are talking about, we're talking about the Niners being rusty too. Absolutely, that's fine. Hey, check the stats. No receiver had 100 yards on Jets.
But the Jets run defense is abysmal. 25th in the league. We don't got to throw the football. Gee, you know what? We get. We appreciate Jets game in the comments. But we are giving just as much credit to the Jets as we are the Niners. That both sides are rusty. What it's going to come down to is who's the better football team. And I understand, as a Jets fan, you believe it is the Jets, but in reality, it is the San Francisco 49ers. And that just, it is what it is. Listen, I have nothing wrong. I have no ill will against the New York Jets. I think Jason has a little more because he's from that area, and that's fine. But both teams are going to be rusty. And if we're talking Mike Williams,
Let's talk 6-7 weeks from now. Let's not talk week 1. So that it is what it is. The Jets defense, very talented. That's why I am a little concerned about the rust of the Niners. But when it comes down to it, that Jets defense, that Jets run defense is not good. And you could say, oh, Javon Kinlaw is new and he's going to be different. But this was the biggest pro Javon Kinlaw podcast on 49ers Twitter for a decent amount of time. We know what Javon Kinlaw and Solomon Thomas look like. And hey, Robert Saleh, we love Robert Saleh. Jeff Ulbrich, Niners legend. He used to be a linebacker here. Like a lot of the players you're talking about, we have familiarity with. We know what Robert Saleh is. We'll see what it looks like tonight. I believe the Niners will be better than the Jets, but I hope the Jets have a good season. It is what it is. A little crazy talk going on right now in the chat, but that's okay. That's why we like. Hey, that's how all our Rams fans are here. Don Burr, the legend. Like, listen, you're here when the Niners win tonight. You're Sprint Red Option Podcast legend. We love you, Jets gang. Jason, we are running out of time. We're almost at 40 minutes. Or no, we're only at 30 minutes. I want to make sure we get to it because I saw you wrote an article, NinersNation.com, about it. And it's a big one tonight. It's an exciting one. Whomst revenge game. Is it? And there's a lot of names here. Last time these two teams played was in 2020. It was 2020. So we haven't seen we haven't seen a Niners Jets matchup with Robert Saleh as the Jets head coach. This is our first time seeing it. I can't believe it's been 4 years since that game, which like that game is real easy to forget for Niner fans because things happen we don't need to talk about. But Jason, saw you wrote it on NinersNation.com. I know you got a list in front of you. Whomst revenge game is Monday night for the Niners and Jets.
I mean, hello, old friends. Robert Saleh, DJ Reed, Javon Kinlaw, Solomon Thomas, Jeff Ulbrich, defensive coordinator. See, this was the funniest part about this whole Jets thing is, you know, the Jets fans are in here like, we're so good, and you're trying to be the San Francisco 49ers. Yeah. You are trying to be the San Francisco 49ers. Don't let that be lost on you. But yeah, it's all those guys. Hello, old friends. Isaiah Oliver. Hello, old friend.
That's the one I keep forgetting. That's a fun one. Enjoy. Listen, I don't have much bad to say about Solomon Thomas, Javon Kinlaw. I like those trenches. They were Solomon Thomas gets lost a little bit because of the Mahomes thing. I guess I get that. Kinlaw, I think he was better. Just kind of like there I say like Mike Williams, he wasn't able to get on the field. Isaiah Oliver. Boy, oh boy, if he's on the field, I think the Niners know who they're trying to target a little bit. Because
but luckily, he won't be on the field much because DJ Reed and Michael Carter II and Sauce, those are your three. Like, those are your three. But hello, old friend. We know who you are. And I think, look, again, if we're doing Whomst revenge game when it comes to the Jets literally brought Robert Saleh over and brought every single thing that they could try to bring over here from the 49ers to try to change how terrible the Jets have been for the entire part of my life. So, like, that's the funny part about all this.
The Isaiah Oliver. Okay, can we rewind a little bit here? The Isaiah Oliver signing. Is there like argument that like that could be one of the worst signings in Niners history, not just because of how poorly it went on the field, but it was the first hiring of Steve Wilks. Like the first signing Steve Wilks, it was when the Niners signed Isaiah Oliver.
He pounded the table.
It was this is Steve Wilks' first signing. This is his guy. And the Niners couldn't wait to get Steve Wilks out of town. So not only was it Steve Wilks' first guy, it didn't work on the field. The Niners benched him, and then they fired the guy who convinced them to bring in Isaiah Oliver. Like that, that's just not a good signing. I don't think I needed to say it a year after the fact. I think we kind of knew, kind of within the realm of things. Not a good signing by the 49ers, and now he is on the Jets.
I mean, it's fine. Like, he'll never get a chance to play. But I think essentially, like, what we're talking about is just if you're you can't be better than the team you're trying to duplicate. Ask the Green Bay Packers. Ask the Miami Dolphins. Ask the Houston Texans. Everyone's chasing what we're doing. And the Jets have been doing this for years now. It's not like they just started this year. They're on year 3. They've been 7-10 the last 3 years. They haven't been in the playoffs in 15 years. But this year, Andrew, you got to watch out for them, man. This is the year. You got to watch. You know what? 41-year-old quarterback that the 49ers have handled every single time he's come to the stadium, aside from the home opener that 1 year. Oh, my God. Beat him in Green Bay, beat him in Levi's. I got to be worried now, Andrew. I got to be worried now about Aaron Rodgers, who the 49ers have routinely thumped. I got to be worried now about Mike Williams, who never plays. I've got to be worried now about a run defense that has been routinely shredded by everyone. Now I've got to be worried about the New York Jets, and I think they've improved, and I still have this game 21-14, but I'm not worried. Worried is crazy.
Can I give my little Aaron Rodgers spiel? We're just really, really quick. I wanted to throw it out. I put it in my numbers in no article, NinersNation.com. But it's kind of a Hooms revenge game for Aaron Rodgers because Niner fans know kind of what that matchup has looked like recently. The numbers actually aren't that bad for Aaron Rodgers, but what I wanted to point out, and this is either it's important or it's just Andrew saw numbers and was like, oh, this means something, and it really doesn't mean anything, but Andrew was intrigued by it. Aaron Rodgers in 2022 was last year as a starter with the Green Bay Packers. He threw he had 2.2 interception percentage. That not a high number, but it was the third highest number of his career when he starts more than half the games in the season. The 2 years where he was worse was 2010 and 2008. So his first full year as the starter and then the third full year as a starter. So he threw interceptions at a rate he hadn't thrown since his younger years. Now, you look at that against the 49ers. In the 6 games where the Niners have played the Packers in the Shanahan era, I don't have the record in front of me. Aaron Rodgers has thrown 11 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. That is a 0.9 interception rate, which is very minuscule. It's very low. It's not good for the Niners. But those 6 games, Jason, took place from 2018 to 2021. From 2018 to 2021, the San Francisco 49ers intercepted 35 passes, and that includes the 2 they had in 2018. In the 2 seasons since Aaron Rodgers has faced the 49ers defense, so that's 2022 and 2023, the 49ers have 42 interceptions. They had 35 in a span of 4 years. They have 42 in a span of 2. So maybe Aaron Rodgers' slightly heightened interception percentage in 2022, combined with a 49ers secondary he has not faced, because the 49ers secondary, when Aaron Rodgers played against the Niners with the Packers in those championship games, the Niners secondary was about keeping things in front. It was Jaquaski Tart, Jimmy Ward, nothing over the top. Now it's this interception-minded secondary that Aaron Rodgers hasn't faced, while the pass rush is still the same as what it was. Again, I might have just said a lot of words that meant nothing for the last 3 minutes, but there's numbers there that tell you that Rodgers threw a little more interceptions the last time we saw him, and now he's facing a defense that historically he didn't throw a lot of interceptions against, but now they get a lot of interceptions. I don't know what it means for tonight, Jason. It's something that exists. That's the new segment. Andrew found something that exists. I don't know what it means.
No, it means a lot. And we see the super chat up there. We know Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, we absolutely do. Like, the San Francisco 49ers have beaten much better teams with a much better Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
Now I need to be worried, like, this week. Like, and look, the last 10 games that Aaron Rodgers has started on Monday Night Football, his team has been 10-0. And let's not forget, he started last season, the first game, and they won that game. They got the win. So something's got to change. I have a hard time without being able to say, I think the Jets are super improved. I think the Jets are going to be fun. I think the Jets are not better than the San Francisco 49ers, and I have no reason to be worried about this game going into it because they've beaten better teams with better Aaron Rodgers at quarterback than they are going to face tonight. And I have a hard time backing down from that. I have a hard time being humble about that. And I have a hard time when Jets fans come in here and are talking crazy as opposed to being like, we kind of hope we'd win tonight. It would be really cool, as opposed to we're winning. You're not winning tonight. I'll see you on the post game, or I won't see you on the post game. But I know this team is better regardless of rust and whatever's going on. Doesn't mean that the 49ers are destined for anything after they win this game in week 1. But if you're looking at a team across from them, the San Francisco 49ers are better. They're just better, and I'm going to keep betting on the better team almost every single time. My God.
Listen, where I'm at with it too, and this is a little bit on the side of Jets gang and all the Jets fans in here. If this was a Week 10 game and these two teams have been established, I would be more afraid of the Jets. But to get this game in Week 1 where a lot of changes are going on with the Jets offense, or not changes, but Rodgers is coming back off of the injury he had. I again, like my NinersNation.com pick, and we'll get to it here in a second. It's just, whose offense do you trust to figure it out against the elite defense? And I'll say elite defense for the Jets. Whose offense do you trust to figure it out quicker against the elite defense they are playing? The offense that we've seen do it with Jimmy Garoppolo, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins, now Brock Purdy, and we've seen it dozens of times figuring it out, or Aaron Rodgers essentially in the first year of this Jets offense, because last year doesn't count. I like to believe that Kyle Shanahan and the Niners offense is going to figure it out first. And that's what my pick comes down to tonight. But as I said, if this is a Week 10, Week 11, Week 13 game where the Jets are, dare I say, what Jet fans are saying they're going to be in the chat, totally different conversation. I'm more concerned about it. But it's Week 1, man, and the rust is going to be a thing. I just think the Niners are going to shake that rust off first, and that's just what it comes down to.
They've been the better team. They've been the team with continuity. Even if Brandon Ayuk is on a pitch count, it doesn't matter. There's no doubt in my mind that they're better with Trent Williams being there in whatever capacity. And Kyle Shanahan is going to get the mismatches where he needs it. Get Kittle on those linebackers. Get McCaffrey on those linebackers. Make them cover in space. We're going to manufacture touches for Deebo Samuel. There's a lot of ways that this game can go that are in the 49ers' favor. For the Jets, for this game, for them to win, it would take almost everything going perfect on their end, never turning over the football, no mistakes, anything like that. I don't foresee the 49ers needing that sort of game to beat the New York Jets today.
Jason, we're almost at predictions. We're almost at an hour. We're on a tight hour today because I'm on my lunchtime. But Jason, let's do our underdog picks. Oh my goodness. I know it's the promo code Aponte. It's Underdog. What is the deal this year, Jason Aponte?
Use promo code Aponte for all your Underdog fantasy picks. You will get a deposit match up to $1,000, man. They're not playing with you guys, honestly, and they're giving you so much. So make sure you guys are logged on to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code Aponte to, make your game a little bit more fun and see how things go.
I like it, Jason. So who are your picks? I haven't made them yet. I you know what? I have learned that I'm not the picks guy on this podcast. I am not good because I have a lot of those red X's by my picks. That typically doesn't mean money for me. So that's okay. But Jason, I trust you. What we got?
I mean, Eve, the lowest hanging fruit is usually the sweetest. Christian McCaffrey over higher, half a touchdown. I think, again, the Jets' run defense has struggled. Once you get into that area, it's going to be really, really easy for them to pick on that and finish the job there. George Kittle, the lights are bright. It's George Kittle. 45.5 receiving yards, higher, easy. Like, that's easy money. If you've looked at any time that the lights have been on Thursday against the New York Giants last season, last season, week 3, 90 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. I fully expect that to continue. And I think there's a really easy one here because I'm only going to give you 3. There's a really easy one here. Juwan Jennings, 1.5 receptions.
Oh,
higher.
That feels like a low number.
Higher.
Yeah, and I mean I like those because you have the Ayuk on a limit, so everybody's targets are going to kind of go up a little bit here and there. I like that Kittle one because George Kittle, he just always seems to come out of nowhere and have these big games. And I feel like with all the talk around everybody else on this offense, Kittle's just kind of sitting in the background doing his own thing. I like the Kittle pick and Juwan Jennings. You know the Niners are going to have 2 third downs, and he'll get those 2 conversions. It'll be like 3rd and 3s, and hey, 2 receptions for 7 yards, that gets the job done. Not too hard. So we like it. Jason, thank you for those underdog picks. Let's get to the predictions. And here, let me make sure I got the right number because I can tell you exactly what Jason and I were last year. 2023 San Francisco 49ers finished 12-5. That means the Sprint Right Option podcast went 12-5 on their picks.
Well, count the postseason.
Well, regular season, we're counting. We're just saying regulars. We don't talk about any games that happened in the postseason.
I mean, we predicted 2 of the 3.
Okay, so then we'll move it to 14-6. And now I have to mention that we were wrong on the Super Bowl. Thanks, Jason. 14-6 last season with our 49er picks. I will go first. I detailed it a little bit, NinersNation.com article that came out today. I feel like, Jason, you've been talking about how this game might be a blowout. I was talking about, hey, maybe it's going to be a little closer. I actually have a bigger score differential. I have 24-10 49ers. I think I'm taking into account all the struggles that are going to happen. I just think this feels like a perfect spot for the Niners to kind of come out, show who they are. There's been a lot of bad vibes. Let's be honest. A lot of bad vibes going on lately with this 49ers team. But seems to be turning around. You know, you have the extension signed. You have the Ricky Pearsall situation. Ricky Pearsall sounds like he wants to play today, which needs to tell you just how good that situation has turned out to be. I'm going to go 24-10. Niners start out a little rusty, but they figure it out against the Jets team, who I think it's going to take a few weeks for them to get going before they show who they are. So 24-10 Niners.
21-14, but I wouldn't be shocked that this is one of these games that, like, we thought last year with the Steelers, like, this is going to be a tough game, but the 49ers just run away with this thing. Like, I really do. But I'm going to stick to the fact that I do believe that the Jets are improved, despite everything that I've said or whatever. I still don't need to be scared of the Jets. I know they're improved, and they're obviously improved because their quarterback play is going to be better because it was absolute dog shit last year. How could it not be at least a little bit better, regardless of the state that Aaron Rodgers is in? But 21-14, I think the 49ers make a defensive stand. They finish this one. You get out of here with an ugly win, but an ugly win's better than a pretty loss. So I think the 49ers win 21-14. And again, if you think I'm going to be quiet after the game, I have to do a post-game show. So stop it. Make sure you pull up to the post-game show and keep that same energy. And again, like I said, when y'all lose Jets game, send that $5 super chat.
We like it. And that'll be a special Sprint Right Option podcast episode of Jason Aponte's post-game show. We're going to be doing that right after the game. Maybe we'll give you guys like 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever it takes for you guys to get settled and locked in. We'll be live by the time you're settled and locked in. That'll be probably 8:30, 8:15 West Coast time.
West Coast time.
11:15 East Coast time. So we'll be live. We're going to do post games a little different. I guess we'll get it out there now. Usually we go position by position, which works until like you're doing the same thing every week and saying the same things. So we're changing up the post-game shows a little bit. We're going to come with 3 things that stood out to us in each game and discuss those. Ideally, it's going to be 6. It'll be 6 different topics. We'll make it work so it's 6 different topics. But 3 stars, obviously, we can't not have 3 stars. 3 stars got to return. But looking forward to it. We're going to be back tonight after the game, Sprint Right Option podcast. Jason, I'm excited. We're back, man. Football is back. I did the anti-Rich Madrid, and I watched an entire day of Red Zone yesterday. It was fantastic. I loved it. It was good to be back. A lot of sluggish starts out there, hoping the Niners avoid one. But the sluggish start will happen, but the Niners will be 1-0 at the end of the night. I'm excited for another year. This is season number 5. Season number 5 for the Sprint Right Option podcast. So each and every one of you, we appreciate all of you for joining. Jason, do you have any final thoughts before we get this season kicked off?
Nope. Good to be back, guys. And we're talking about actual football. We don't have to worry about, We don't have to worry about anything else other than just what's going on in the field. The content creates itself, and we'll be here to cover it. Thank you guys, as always, for rocking with us. And yeah, we're back, man. The schedule is going to be back on for the entire week. A lot of content. Make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the Sprint Right Option wherever you get your audio podcast, by the way, which, maybe this isn't the best one, because I'm yelling a bunch or whatever through my AirPods, but hey,
we'll be back.
We'll be back to the regular setup tonight, but enjoy your football, enjoy your time, and I hope everybody's safe out there. And as always, Niners going to be 1-0. Let's get it.
Hey, Jason, actually, real quick, I do want to make sure, just since you mentioned it, you do have a lot of content on this channel. So much so that I think if I said it, it would be State of the Franchise with Brad Graham, Bully Ball with Steph Sanchez, and I don't know the name of the show with Brian Peacock, but huge get.
Peacock and Apante? Peacock and Apante? It sounds better than Apante and Peacock. Yeah.
Apante and Peacock and Apante works with me either way. Two people I love to listen to talk football. I believe that's it, though. That's every bit of content on the Jason Apante YouTube channel.
Right, and then there'll be other things. Obviously, we're gonna have Dr. Narav Panja on here, who's gonna be talking about injuries. Hopefully, we won't have him too much. I think if he's not on the show, and I mean this respectfully, it's probably the best thing because it means that the 49ers are healthy. But we'll have certain things like that. We'll do some more film breakdowns during the week as well too. Like all that stuff is gonna be really there. So again, guys, we made it through the dead part, and now it's all about just covering this team and trying to go get number 6. So yeah, let's fucking go Niners, man.
I'll put it out there. We're gonna have the doc on no matter what. Ideally, we're not talking 49er injuries.
We're talking about which jerseys in the cart.
Yeah, which jerseys in the car, what the Warriors are doing, like a lot of things like that. I don't know, man, but we'll have the doc on. Probably, I want to ask him about the McCaffrey stuff too. I think that's an interesting one. So that's gonna be it. First episode of the Sprint Right Option podcast for the 2024 season. Again, we'll be back tonight, post-game. Second game's over. We're going to be doing our game review. We're going to be doing 3 stars. We're going to be doing the whole shebang. And then we'll be back on Friday, 5:15, normal time. We're trying not to do these afternoon ones as too often. Just had to do it today because the Niners play. We'll be back 5:15 on Friday to break down the 49ers and Vikings. But we'll be back tonight to break down Niners-Jets, first of all. So tonight, 8:15, 8:30-ish, West Coast time. Jason Aponte, as always.
Let's fucking go Niners.
Let's go Niners, 1-0. Let's see how it goes. I'm excited. I also forgot I'm doing the outro, so I'm just stalling until I click the button.
Welcome, everybody.
We are live.
My name is Jason Aponte.
I am Andrew Pasquini.
We're working. That's it. We're working over here. That's it. Let's go Niners.
Let's go Niners. Sprint Right Option podcast.